Morning all, and welcome back once again to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a much closer look at a new WatchDives watch. This is one of the watches that has been made in a new factory that they've started to use, and the build quality is definitely a step up from the watches coming out of the original factory that they were using. And yeah, 132 British pounds. I think this watch is going to represent pretty good value for money. I did show you this watch very briefly in a video on I Like Watches too. In fact, I showed you 3 WatchDives watches. I just wanted to have a look at the quality of those watches, since they were telling me, you know, these have been made in a new factory and the quality is much better. And yeah, I had very few complaints actually, but in that video I didn't really run through the specifications, and I did ask you guys which watch of the 3 you wanted to see in more detail, and this was by far the most popular one. So yeah, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this new WatchDives watch. Like, for example, it's powered by an NH35. Of course it is, £132 all stainless steel dive watch from China. Of course it's got the NH35 inside of it. Yeah, we don't mind that, do we? 21,600 beats per hour. Hacks and hand winds. 316L stainless steel throughout. Yeah, decent construction, decent specifications throughout. Solid end links, solid link. Split pins, unfortunately, but yeah, I think we all prefer those to pin and collar. Milled in elements to the clasp, on the fly adjustment system in this clasp as well. It's not the smoothest in terms of how it operates, but yeah, it definitely works, so that is nice to have, isn't it? The outer shell as well is fairly substantial. I did complain a little bit in that video on I Like Watches too about some of the finishing on this clasp actually. In fact, a couple of their clasps were a little bit, just a little bit rough in terms of the finishing, but I'm not expecting San Martin levels of finishing because, well, WatchDives watches are just generally priced a little bit lower. They're sort of a step down in terms of pricing and finishing, I think, from San Martin. Perhaps sitting in between Pagani design and San Martin, as so many brands do on AliExpress. But of course this watch is available from their website. I'll put a link to their website in the video description. It's not an affiliate link, it just takes you to their website. Yeah, it's a nicely made watch, a mix of brushed and polished finishing throughout. The bezel action is nice. The alignment is so close to being perfect. It is fractionally off, unfortunately. It's just a little bit to the right, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, I mean, it's so close. If you just change the angle of the watch slightly, it sort of lines up. But yeah, when you're looking at the watch square on like this, it's so close. I don't suspect the loom is as strong as it could be, given they've added this colour to it. That always dilutes the strength of the loom. But yeah, I think it's a very nice, pretty looking sort of sea urchin watch, isn't it? Obviously the bezel insert isn't ceramic, it's also not sapphire, it is K1 crystal, so mineral crystal basically. Still a bit of pop and shine to it. It's going to be a little bit easier to scratch than it would be if it was sapphire or ceramic, but it looks to be fairly well protected. It's not protruding out of that bezel too much, is it? So yeah, I don't think that's too much of an issue. The dial looks very nice, 36912 on the dial. Yeah, nice big markers, lots of loom in terms of surface area. Yeah, I think the dial is nicely printed. I like the case actually, some rather large polished facets flanking the case. Look, a little bit of brushing on the inner edges of the lugs and brushing to the side. Look, yeah, it's a pretty watch. Female end links, which I think we always appreciate. Screw down case back, screw down crown. I think there will be a ghost position. Yeah, there is. There's a ghost position because it is the NH35. Yeah, you can hear it and feel it in the background. So that's not fantastic, but you know, San Martin do that, don't they? In fact, most brands do. Most Chinese watch brands do that on occasions. I think Bolton is probably the only brand that now consistently uses the right movements in their watches, which we give them a lot of credit for, don't we? The bezel insert may not be ceramic or sapphire, but the crystal protecting the dial is sort of double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. There's a little bit of distortion, isn't there, at a tight angle look, so I suspect the domage on the inside and the outside of the crystal doesn't quite match, but yeah, it is a nice piece of crystal. It protrudes a little bit from the bezel, doesn't it? 120 click, by the way, the bezel action. Have a listen. I don't think I gave you a listen, did I? Yeah, the bezel action is nice. It really is nice. A little bit of backplay look, but the clicks are nice and crisp. It feels smooth. It's even all the way around. There's no sort of high or low spots. So, yeah, when they say this watch is being made in a new factory that produces better quality watches than the watches that were being made in their original factory, I 100% believe them. Absolutely. And for 132 British pounds, NH35 powered 300 meter diver. It's not actually too big and chunky either, is it? Yeah, I think it represents pretty good value for money, guys. Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with this one.